Here's another episode of the Channeling Project for you. This is part 5. To all you evolving humans listeners, thank you so much for continuing to support this podcast with your subscriptions and your shares. If you find value in this episode, please share it with at least 2 other people so that together we can bring more light to the world. Welcome to Evolving Humans, the podcast for awakening souls. I'm your host, Julia Marie. Settle in and get ready for another spirited conversation. Humanity stands now on the cusp of great change. You often wonder what you can do to modify your current trajectory. It is interesting to note that the slightest differentiation can bring about a great shift. So at this point in time, every decision, every choice is a crucial one in the overall scheme of things. There is no such thing as an insignificant detail during this time of transition. Everything matters. It is far too complex to be able to clearly see or coordinate any sort of clear pathway through. It is a matter of intent, both individual and collective, that will hold sway over the final outcome. So we encourage you to keep in the forefront of your mind that which you would desire to experience here. Maintaining your focus on that outcome is going to be your most reliable North Star, the one thing that you know will be an infallible guide for you moving forward. For as you make your daily decisions aligned with that North Star of intent, you will move yourself individually closer to that goal. And that does have an effect on those who are in your immediate sphere of influence. We do not say this to engender fear. We say this to offer you a powerful tool that you can utilize as you see fit for the benefit of both yourself as well as all of humanity. So for now, those are our words. We are pleased to be here once more, and whenever you are ready, you may begin.
Thank you, and thank you for being here with us today. Where does our spark of inspiration come from?
The easiest way to say this is to tell you that you are your own inspiration. When you open yourselves up to what you call the inspiration of spirit, you're opening yourselves up to your greater potential, to the light of your own soul. And that is where your spark of inspiration originates, is within the body of the soul itself, projected down through what you call dimensions or layers of consciousness until it reaches the you that is embodied in this dimension of density. So again, it is not something that is outside of yourself. It lies within you and is yours to acknowledge and follow, explore, express, or not. So the short answer is you are your own spark of inspiration.
Thank you. I've come to learn that having peace in your heart is of utmost importance in the liberation of the soul, or as the Dalai Lama would say, inner peace, inner value. Would you share your thoughts on this, as well as how this peace or imbalance of peace impacts the physical body?
Whenever there is discord, there is disharmony. And peace, the essence of peace, the frequency of peace, has the power to dissipate all of those inharmonious vibrations and to bring everything into alignment and balance again. So simply focusing your attention on the vibration of peace and using your imagination to allow that vibration to move through all the layers of your physical and subtle bodies will naturally bring alignment and balance to you. When you are able to let the world be as it is without allowing it to affect your own equanimity, that is when you can know that you are in a state of balance and harmony. In other words, you are at peace, no matter the circumstances you find yourself in. Peace is a vibration, is the closest thing to the embodied expression of higher consciousness in many ways. So, allowing yourself to be filled with the energy of peace is also conducive to raising your conscious awareness. So again, it is a good thing should you choose to reflect upon the energy of peace and invite that into your energy field and allow it to do its work in a very natural and organic way.
Thank you. What does it mean for a person to be misunderstood? And how does that impact the soul's growth? Does it have an impact?
Oftentimes there are misperceptions that register at the level of the soul itself, which can then have an impact upon how the soul chooses its experiences in order to further its own development. So, in many ways, these misunderstandings or misperceptions, especially when they occur at the level of the soul, can definitely lead to slowing down or a change in direction of the soul as it strives to continue its education and to learn and grow from experiences.
Mm-hmm.
At the human level, it is much easier to remedy this situation than it is at the level of the soul. For at the level of the soul is managing multiple incarnations at the same time. And so if there are many incarnations that are affected by this misperception, then it can have a major impact on more than one lifetime.
And so just by learning lessons from this sense of soul that feels misunderstood, that will help improve not only this incarnation but others as well, then, correct?
Yes, those that they can be both beneficial and can also lead to it taking a different route in order to learn whatever it was the soul originally intended to learn prior to it picking up some misperception through experience along the way.
Yes, I see. Thank you. There are times when one must speak their truth, even if it means there will be a perceived emotional loss at the human level. Can you explain what happens on the soul level when we choose to stand in and speak our truth?
The more you choose to live your life in alignment with your best understanding of what your soul's wisdom is, in other words, in as great an alignment with the truth of your understanding to the best of your capabilities, that is how you strengthen your connection to your soul, is through striving always to express that as clearly and cleanly as possible through your current incarnation.
Yes, thank you. What happens when one learns to walk as a sovereign being that has access to infinite love and maintains a state of experiencing love at all levels?
That is easy to say, and yet what you described is supremely difficult to achieve or accomplish. For even to have the remote understanding of what it is to be a sovereign being is a concept most of you are not able to grasp. What is a sovereign being? A sovereign being is one who is free from any form of enslavement or servitude. And there is an extreme lack of sovereignty on your planet at this time. Most of you don't even understand what that means. So the first step would be to engage in a course of study that would allow you to have a greater understanding of what it means to be a sovereign being. And then, from that place of understanding, explore ways that you can incorporate sovereignty or a state in which you feel you are standing more in your own power. Any small increment or choice that you can make from a place of your sovereign being is an improvement over what is currently unfolding on this planet. For the expression of sovereignty is a critical component in freeing the planet from her current state of, well, I guess in many ways you could say enslavement. For although the planet, by her very nature, is a sovereign being, she willingly surrendered that in order to become a proving ground for many races of souls from many places, too many to count, even for us. So the voluntary enslavement was done with intent. The intention is to allow those who incarnate here to learn what it means truly to be free and to master the art of being sovereign in one's expression. And so we say to you, do not take any act or expression of sovereignty or the opportunity to express yourself as a sovereign being. Do not take any of that responsibility lightly, for that is the template that is attempting to be reactivated on this planet at this time. And we shall see how that, or whether that attempt is successful.
Yes, we can only hope that it is. Would you say that dissolution of self could be interchanged or considered the same as expansion of self? And can you tell me your thoughts on these perspectives of basically no self or new self?
In one instance, the effort is focused on dissolving what we are assuming you would be referring to as the ego self or the little self. And in the other case, it is a matter of expansion of that little self to the point where it exists in the massive field of one's fullest potential. And we would say expansion is the easier model to follow because it does not require one to deny an aspect of one's own being in order to be aware of all the potential one can express. So, as opposed to an effort being made to close down or minimize an aspect of oneself, the expansion model provides for the greatest potential for expression of different aspects of self for the purposes of soul growth naturally. So we would encourage allowing yourself to expand into more and more of who you are, and notice that as you do, that little self aspect of yourself simply becomes more aware of what its actual place in the grand scheme of things is, and can become comfortable with that awareness as you continue. Learn more about who you truly are.
Yes, I like that. Thank you so much. Would you say that self love is the ultimate source of healing, or that working from your heart center can generate the greatest light, which leads to healing on all levels and dimensions? Would you please elaborate?
We would be more inclined to say self acceptance is a greater healing balm that you can apply than that of self love. For when you are able to accept who you are and how you are exactly as you are, that is the ultimate healing you can give yourself. Knowing that you are perfect as you are created through all of your experiences. You made this version of yourself, and accepting that as the truth of your reality can be very healing. We are not saying that self-love is not also helpful and healing. We're saying that self-acceptance has a more impact when that is the true experience you are having, is that you find yourself at a place of peace with who you are, how you are, and how your life is unfolded. The more you are able to find that place within yourself to be kind and patient with yourself, then you also are building the capacity to share that vibration of acceptance with others. Love, for the most part, has many vibrational connotations attached to it that it can be difficult to ascertain what form of self-love is being expressed to oneself. Love is a word that has been overused and in many ways misused or misunderstood. So we choose to use self-acceptance in order to more clearly distinguish what it is we are trying to say here from the concept of self-love. So it's the aspect of you that is able to provide love and healing through the work of self-acceptance. Fundamentally, it has the potential to completely transform your life.
Yes, that's so true. And thank you for providing that perspective. An illusory sense of self is what Albert Einstein referred to as, quote, an optical illusion of consciousness. What is your interpretation of this?
We tend to use 3D as our frame of reference when incarnated in human form, and therefore much of what we perceive about ourselves is filtered to us through this out of focus lens. of illusion. We place great value on this material dimension, and yet it is the most unreal aspect of our entire experience. So we would agree that how we frame our understanding of what consciousness is, especially when based upon the perspective available from the level of the material realm, it can be said it is an illusion. For in the material realm there are beginnings and endings, and in the eternal realm there is only being. Anything beyond an understanding that there is only being is by definition then an illusion. It is not real. Consciousness is.
Thank you. You sort of covered my next question, but I'll go ahead and ask anyways to see if there's any more information you would like to add. What happens to the soul when one is able to break through fear or the illusion of fear?
When one is able to conquer that illusion of fear, it brings the light of the soul more into focus and therefore strengthens that connection, allowing the soul to express itself more freely through into this dimension. So in a way, one could say that breaking through the illusion of fear frees the soul to express itself more freely. And that is, after all, the ultimate goal of incarnating in the first place.
Yes, thank you. Is there such a thing as a hybrid soul? And if so, how would you define it? And if so, why have they chosen to incarnate on Earth at this time?
In many respects, every soul could be considered a hybrid soul, for each soul's experiences provide a unique set of circumstances to each one's existence. There are many souls that have strands of energy that have been braided together in ways that might seem to be then a mixture of more than one energy stream. There are some souls that do not have this makeup, but by virtue of their own experiences would also be considered hybrid in many ways because of their unique characteristics. But assuming that you are asking about the nature of souls that may have more than one strand of origin braided together prior to incarnating here, we will assume that's what you mean when you ask about hybrid souls.
Yes.
Then we would say that they are incarnating here the same reason any other soul would incarnate here, to learn and to grow in an accelerated way in one of the most difficult schools currently available to any soul. So it would be for the experience, the learning, the acceleration, the potential for accelerated growth.
So you mentioned that Earth School was one of the most difficult experiences. Is there some place that's even more difficult, or where one has the opportunity to experience and learn and grow in their potential besides Earth?
It would be quite an expression of hubris to assume Earth is the only school in all of creation where one can learn and grow. It has a difficult curriculum, but it is not the only place a soul can develop itself.
But the most difficult.
It is one of the most difficult schools.
Thank you. And thank you for being here today. Before we conclude, is there anything else that we need to know today?
We continue to watch with great interest the unfoldment of events on your planet at this time. We lend you our light and our love and our support, for indeed this is a choosing time that has far greater potential impact than many other choice points in your past. We encourage you to stand fast and continue to focus on your light, maintaining that light connection with as much integrity as you can muster. We are grateful for the opportunity to speak with you. We look forward to our next conversation.
As do I. Many, many thanks.
Well, that's our time for today. Thank you again for continuing to support this podcast with your ratings and reviews. Evolving Humans is now on YouTube, so please click the link in the show notes below and listen to your episode there. That way you can leave an immediate comment or a question you'd like to know the answer to. Your question will need to be general so that all the listeners can benefit. Thank you.